everyone, and welcome back to Jess Loves to Cook. I'm Jess, and today we're going to be cooking with leftover pork chops. I'm going to show you how to make carne con chile with papa and a side of Mexican rice. Alright guys, let's get started. First, we're going to start with turning on our stove to a medium setting. For me, it's a number 4. Now let's drizzle some olive oil over our pan. For this recipe, I'm going to be using 1/4 of an onion. I'm going to chop it up into small little cubes, and I'm going to cut them as small as I possibly can because my family is not a big fan of big chunks of onion. This is minced garlic, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of the minced garlic, and then I'm going to add my onion into the saute pan. And stir everything together. These are my 2 pork chops that I cooked the night before. As you can see there, I left the fat on it, and now I'm just going to slice that right off and then cut them up into cubes. I like to cut my meat into small little pieces, and for me it just makes it seem like when I bite into my meat the chunks aren't so big, and on the plus side they cook a lot faster too. Look at that beautiful caramelization we have going. Doesn't that look beautiful? Okay, let's stir up our onion and garlic a little bit, and then let's add our pork chops into our pan. Make sure you stir everything really well together. Now let's add some pepper. A sprinkle of cumin. And a little bit of sea salt. And then stir everything really well together. And then place the lid on top. Now let's peel a potato. And then take any dark spots off. And then cut it into small little circles or slices, and then cube it up. Make sure you're consistently stirring your meat so that it doesn't burn. Now let's add our chopped up potato and stir everything really well together. I've always been in the habit of reseasoning when I add a new ingredient, so I will add pepper, cumin, and salt again to my pot. And stir everything really well together. And then place the lid on top. Now let's give our food a nice stir. And then we are going to add about 1/4 of a cup of water to our meat, just so that it could get a little bit of its juices back. You don't want your meat to dry up. And then place your lid back on your pot. Now that the meat is pretty much all the way cooked, we're going to place it on a low heat setting. Now let's turn on another burner to a medium-high heat setting. Here we're going to make our salsa, and you'll need 4 cups of water. I like to start with washing my tomatoes and removing any of the store stickers that were put on my tomatoes. Now I'm going to wash my cilantro. I always cut the bottom of my cilantro off and just keep the top. Now add your tomatoes to your pot of water. For this recipe, I'm going to be using chile de arbol, and I'm going to use 6 chilies. and then place your lid back on your pot. So now your meat should be nice and tender and soft, and your potatoes should be cooked all the way through. Give it a taste and see what you think. Now I'm going to make a side of rice, and I'm going to start by oiling my pan. My heat setting is at a 5, which is a medium. I'm also adding 1 cup of jasmine white rice to my pan. If you don't have jasmine rice, you can use basmati, long grain, short grain, whichever white rice you prefer. When it comes to making Mexican rice, you'll notice that you have to stir it frequently, and the reason why is because you don't want it to burn. The color that we're aiming for on our white rice is for a nice golden brown. And while you're stirring your rice, don't forget to stir your potatoes and your meat while you're stirring your rice also. Make sure that when you're stirring your meat and your rice, you use 2 separate spoons. Okay, we are finally getting some brownness to our rice, and that is what we want. Okay, now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato bouillon to my rice and 2.5 cups of water. And don't forget to add some salt. Now stir up everything really well together and break up that tomato bouillon. And cover with a lid. Now let's do a quick check on our tomatoes to see how they're doing. So the tomatoes are still hard, so I'm going to let them cook a little longer. In the meantime, I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of sweet corn to my rice. Stir one more time and place your lid back on. So my tomatoes and chiles have been boiling for some time, and they're ready to go now. They're nice and soft. And turn off the burner for your tomatoes. Now that my rice has been boiling for a while and the bouillon's flavor has released, I like to taste the water to see if it needs more salt or more tomato bouillon. In this case, it didn't need any. Since the rice has been boiling on a medium heat, I'm going to lower it now to a slow medium heat so that it doesn't burn. Okay, let's make our salsa. Now we're going to put our cilantro in the blender, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic or whole garlic. Then strain your tomatoes and your chiles from your water that you boiled them. Do not use the water. Your tomatoes have more than enough liquid. Okay, now let's add some salt. I'm going to be using sea salt, but you can use whatever salt you have. Okay, now it's time to blend everything together. I'm going to blend my stuff for about 12 to 15 seconds. Make sure it's completely liquefied and there's no solid tomato in your salsa. Now I'm going to add the salsa to my meat and my potatoes. I did taste the salsa and it tasted just fine, but as you can see, it's a little thick, so I'm going to add some water and shake it up and add that to my meat. Now mix everything together and then put your lid back on. Now we're going to want our meat to get a nice simmer, so I'm going to up my heat to a number 3, which is right below a medium. If you've never cooked rice before, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you get a spoon, now that our rice looks like it's almost done, I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to taste it. If you feel a little bit of hardness, it's not ready. So since the rice is not ready, I'm going to add like maybe 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup of water into our rice and then close it back up. So it's been about 3 to 4 minutes, and now we can check our rice again and give it another taste and see if it's fully cooked. And yes, it was this time. So now turn off your burner for your rice. Okay, this is the simmer that you want your meat to have. And the reason why you want it to simmer is because you want the meat to absorb the flavors of the salsa. So now turn off your burner. Okay, so let's check out our rice. And don't forget to move your rice around and cover up that little hole where we tasted our rice. And then this is what our meat looks like. Nice little simmer. Man, my mouth is watering. Doesn't that look delicious? Alright guys, well there you have it. leftover pork chops made into carne con chile with papa and Mexican rice. All right, let's start with the rice and see how it came out. So I got a little bit of the corn. It's nice and sweet. The rice is nice and fluffy. All right, let's give it a try to this carne con papa. It's delicious. It has a little bit of a kick. The potato is nice and soft, and the meat is just cooked to perfection, guys. All right, hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and most importantly, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, or let me know what you guys want to see me cook next. And thanks for watching. Jess loves to cook.